What's up, everybody? Today we will be ranking UFC fighters by who I would want to be stuck on a desert island with the most versus the least. All right. Now, some of the rules about this, we're not taking, reproduction requirements or considerations in. So that's why there's no female fighters on this list. I just wanted to put that out there. So we're going to start off strong with my man Volk in the S tier. Now I'm putting Volk in the S tier because he's from Australia and he has that cooking series where he does all the bushcraft, He's cooking over fucking hot charcoal and things like that. I feel like he's pretty crafty and he seems like a level-headed guy. I don't think he's gonna snap on me within a week, try and eat me, anything of that nature. And I feel like he kind of knows his way around the wilderness. He'll be a good time. Maybe if we can ferment some fucking fruit or something, get drunk together. I don't think anything weird is gonna happen. I'm not getting diddied. And so Volk, I feel like that's a good place to start in the S tier. Now moving on, we're gonna put Peyton Talbot in the F tier. I'm gonna move quick on this one, but for obvious reasons, I don't think me and him would be a good match. Just the two of us on an island together alone. Um, I'll let your minds go and fill in the gaps of my reasoning. I do fuck with Frank Ocean, not like he does. So for that reason, Peyton Talbot's an F tier. We can move over to Hamzat Shemaev. I don't know, dude. There's a bit of a language barrier. No, not really. He can speak English. I'm gonna put him in D. I think he's gonna, not be very cooperative as a teammate. Um, there's potential for me becoming his bitch, and anyone where I think there's a likelihood I become sex slave, regular slave, a pledge, they have to go D and below. I feel like that's a pretty fair, categorization. Next up, Connor. This is a tricky one. Current Conor McGregor, he would be highly fucking motivated to get anything done. This guy is the most enthusiastic version of Connor I've ever seen in my life. Everything he does, he's giving, it's like that movie, The fucking Patriot. He's giving crazy speeches before he does anything. He'd be super enthusiastic for any sort of thing. He's, firing on fucking 200 cylinders all the time right now, but I don't know how coherent or competent he is. I don't think there's going to be a lot of good communication between us. I think he'll listen to what I'm saying, and I'll just look back and he'll be foaming from the mouth. And he'll have his own fucking plan the entire time. And so there's a 50-50 chance that, I turn around for 5 minutes and he's built a fucking house and he has a bar and he's already fermented all of the fruits and vegetables into vodka and, stout, or I turn around and he's fucking in the trees. Okay. I'll put him above Hamzat. He could probably be a good time. We'd have a good time before we go out. Next up, let's go Colby Covington. Colby might turn heel on me pretty quickly. Hard to figure out. Um, I don't know. He's from Oregon. I don't think in Oregon they're camping and fucking farming a lot. I think it's a little bit more like Chael Sonnen said, the tough streets of Westland, Oregon. He's not giving me a lot of survival skills, but he is a grappler. And so maybe if there's like a boar, a wild indigenous boar out there, I could see him fucking securing back control. I think, trying to establish like some government with him on the island might be a little bit challenging. Like, he might be a proponent of deporting me, because I'm not technically a citizen there. And I think I put him above Connor in the B tier. I think he'll be a little bit easier to work with. All right, next up, Mr. Tapuria. I'm a little bit salty with the champ right now. He knocked out my boy Volk and then fled up to 155. So we won't see Volk get a rematch, unfortunately. And he was represented for Short Kings everywhere. So Ilya's another Short King, but he's a villain in my book right now. I do love watching him fight. He does like to drink red wine before the weight cut, so he is kind of chill. I don't know, on a day-to-day basis, like how fun he would be to hang out with. I don't know what type of survival skills he has. Um, he's from Georgia and they moved to Spain. He's not giving me a lot of survival instincts. I'll just throw him in the D tier with no C tier. C tier with Hamzat. He might bitch me, but I'd rather get bitched by him than a Russian, because who knows what they're packing. Okay, next up, Ian. Not gonna call him a cuck. Gary. You know what? Ian Gary, where is he from? He's Irish. He'd like to build. He's taller than me, so he could reach for fruits. The height honestly would be an advantage, and there wouldn't be any jealousy if I got in a relationship with an indigenous woman on the island. He seems to be pretty progressive in that regard, and I'll put him in the A tier. He can reach up pretty high for me. Uh, if I don't pull out fast enough and accidentally have a kid with one of the ladies there, he's gonna raise them. So I got a free nanny with Ian Gary. That's kind of a banger. Solid guy all around, and he's a killer fighter. Um, next up, Israel Adesanya. He's from New Zealand. The painted nails don't really sell me on him surviving in the thick of it. Again, the height would be nice. I will say, okay, do not cancel me. But if, what type of island we're on, if it's tropical, um, maybe, there's all sorts of chimpanzees, baboons, like really hostile, malicious primates. I could use his size and his stature. Okay, he could do, how you do with the bears, you frame really big, you scare them off. He has a better chance than Volk to pull that maneuver off. So that could be clutch. Has nothing to do with anything else, stature only. Um, what else does he do? He's the style bender. He's not Avatar the Last Airbender, so there's nothing really he can do for me supernaturally. He probably is quite easy to work with, even though he's a broken native. Ooh, I don't know how. Well, actually, he is pretty accustomed to switching up living arrangements on a frequent basis and, like, identifying with a different nationality. And Loki, he might become accustomed to the island life pretty quickly. We'll put him in A tier. Volk's up there nice and lonely. I'm looking for another S tier. Let's get Tommy Aspinall. This guy's got to go S tier. He's the strongest out of the group for sure, Ski. Okay. The strength is going to be a big deal. He's probably a pretty good hang. He's a chill hang. I take his chances of fighting a fucking wild animal a lot better than most of these fellas out here. I think he could protect the fort. I could see, him getting to work on a humble abode pretty quickly. He comes from humble beginnings. He likes being humble. He's Mr. Humble, okay? So, when I draw the line in the sand and I want prime real estate on the island, I don't see him bickering too much with me. He seems pretty easygoing. I guarantee he's a chiller. Throw him up in S tier. Leon Edwards. Okay. Not a lot to say here. He's not giving me a lot. I don't think he's had kicking anyone on the fucking island. When you think about being on a desert island, some of the biggest challenges, besides the survival ones, are just getting along with somebody. And this guy's a fucking brick wall, if I'm being honest. There's not going to be any drill music. Maybe him and me can create some new shit, rip off Skepta, and we can create a national anthem for the island. But British rap sucks, and I would rather do that with somebody else. So he can fucking hang out with Hamzat. Unfortunately, I think this F tier is going to be VIP for Mr. Talbot only so far. Who else we got? Marab, the cardio machine. This guy has to be fucking S tier. I mean, he's going to chop down the entire forest in a fucking day. He's not going to stop. We're going to have so much supplies because of this motherfucker. And I will say, he's a horny bastard. There's some crazy videos of him out there on the internet. Now, you know, ideally, we're the only humans, not ideally. Theoretically, we're the only humans on the island. If there were some indigenous women, though, But he might riz a little bit better than me. I don't, he kind of looks like a fucking animal I would find on the island though. So I'll throw him in S tier just because of the cardio capabilities. He's a really hard worker. Um, he's definitely climbing trees and shit, grabbing coconuts. Like he can negate that height factor. And yeah, not much else to say right there. Who else do we have here? Pereira. This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not thinking S or A. I'm thinking B with Pereira. I'm honestly no, maybe D. I might fucking take my own life if I have to hear Shama 365 times a day and nothing else. There's going to be no communication. And he seems susceptible to getting frustrated and fucking killing me day two. Huge fan though. Love to watch him fight. I just Shama this, Shama that. I'm gonna go, hey, it's been 3 days, no water. I'm gonna fucking die. My liver hurts. He's gonna look at me, Shama, Pereira. I'm, on the verge of starvation. Where, what are we gonna do? Do you know how to fish? Shama, I'm not living with Groot, you know, from Guardians of the Galaxy on a desert island. That's a tough go, all right? He would be a vibe for like 2 hours. And then you're living with I am Groot. So D tier for my boy Pereira. Michael Chandler, fellow Christian. Praise God. Um, I mean, he looks like a fucking hairless chimp. So I don't know how that comes into play. Um, he can backflip a lot of times in a row. That could be entertaining. I think me and him day one, we're gonna be like, let's look for food. We're gonna see a hill with, a bunch of vegetation up there. And instead of helping me out, he's gonna go, see you at the top. And fucking I'm gonna be heart rate 180 beats per minute, halfway up the hill. He'll get up there and have ate everything already because he's trying to prove himself. You know, I think he'd be more tolerable than Connor. I'll throw him with Colby. Um, Lord knows if we die, we're going to the same place. Put that guy right there. Drickus. What do I think about Drickus is gonna verbally assault me. Um, and he would probably hurt my feelings pretty well. I think it would be very effective if we ever got frustrated with one another. You know what? Drickus might be a fucking A tier, dude, because he'll find an unconventional way to win. We're all gonna be looking for food, for water. He's gonna find some fucking unique way to acquire sustenance. God knows what. It's gonna be awkward. It's gonna be weird. He might develop, a primal trading arrangement with the more developed animals on the island. We don't know what type of animals they have. That wasn't part of the rule set. But I just know Dricus Duplessis is gonna find a less than conventional way to get us to the dub. And he hasn't failed quite yet. So I'll throw him an A tier. In that video of him talking about how he would defend himself from the female fighter if there were 50 of them, that really won me over. And I envision that with a bunch of monkeys. And so I like that. All right, we'll do a few more. Sean Strickland. I think E tier gets their first resident. No, he might be fucking F tier. I think we throw Sean in F tier. He's gonna have, a mental breakdown and probably murder me within the hour. I'm going to get beaten to death while I'm getting lectured on what it's like to be a man. All right, totally didn't cut the video and add a few more folks in the mix. Next up, we got Bilal. What's his name? Muhammad. Okay. Listen. He looks like a villager from Minecraft. I'm a fan of Bilal Muhammad. I am his only fan potentially, but I do, root for him. I love the underdog, and I like the fact that everyone shits on him and he has to prove himself constantly. That's a pretty likable quality. Sue me. being on a desert island with him, it might be a similar sitch to Leon Edwards. You know, he doesn't have the most charm. His arms don't cause the most harm. Shout out Shale P. But survival instincts, I was gonna say he's from the Middle East, but he's from fucking Brooklyn or something. So, you know what? His dad did have a small business get burned down in those fucking riots. I think Bilal built it back up. I don't know how relevant that is, but we'll throw him in the B tier. He's probably a chill guy to work with. And maybe we can do some trades, and small chance that I find some emeralds on the island. That could be nice. Sean O'Malley, huge fan of Sean. Everyone hates on him, but I've been a Jobin since freshman year of high school. I'm currently 32. I'm gonna throw him in S tier. This colorful little twink is there's potential for if an aircraft goes by and they see that fucking rainbow afro that they come down and they actually save us. S tier is not a bad place, you know? We don't have a flare gun, but we have the worst hairdo in the UFC, and that might actually get us saved. Beyond that, he's a huge proponent of meditation. That could be pretty important. All the breath work, things like that. He'll be pretty useless, but on the off chance that that hairdo gets us, you know, a nice flare signal to whatever military aircrafts are going by, I'm gonna throw him up there. John Jones. John's gonna go in the E for me. Um, I definitely don't want to get him drunk, and there's no way he's listening to anything I do. He's the goat of fighting, and I think day one I'm gonna be his present bitch. Um, Not much else to say there. There's no way he's gonna listen to what I'm saying. You know what? He did go full NRA a couple years back. He's going to shooting ranges and training German shepherds. I don't know how much that helps on the island, but that has to count for something. I'll throw him in the C tier. And then, okay, I snuck Juliana Pena in here. We're gonna throw her an S tier because I think she'd be really good at starting a fire with. And that's a good list. I think we can wrap it off right there, and I will wrap it up with Juliana.